Is owning acres of farmland in Canada cheaper than buying a second-hand car? Surprisingly, the answer is yes. Across Canada, farmland prices vary wildly, and in some provinces you can still find acres for just a few $1,000s, or even as low as $1,000 per acre. For aspiring farmers, investors, or anyone dreaming of a rural lifestyle, this can be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. In this video, we count down the 10 cheapest provinces to buy farmland in Canada, comparing prices, agricultural opportunities, and long-term potential. Stick with us, and by the end, you'll know exactly where the best farmland bargains can still be found. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to Global Lens for more insights into global living, property, and lifestyle opportunities. Chapter 1. Ontario. Ontario is the economic heart of Canada, home to more than 14 million people and countless industries. It is also one of the most agriculturally productive provinces, with a farm sector valued at over $50 billion annually. However, with demand for land from both developers and farmers, farmland prices have climbed sharply. In southern Ontario near the Greater Toronto area, average farmland values exceed $18,000 per acre, some of the highest in Canada. The drivers are clear: urban expansion, high demand for local produce, and intensive crops such as vineyards, greenhouses, and specialty vegetables. Ontario also loses nearly 320 acres of farmland each day to development, further tightening supply. But Ontario remains on this list because of its northern regions. Districts such as Timiskaming, Cochrane, and Algoma still offer land for as little as $3,500 per acre, about 70% less than prices in the south. These areas benefit from fertile soil, lower competition, and government grants aimed at rural development. Ontario's strength lies in diversity. Dairy, poultry, grain, fruits, and vegetables all flourish here. For investors or families seeking stable long-term appreciation, farmland in Ontario continues to rise steadily in value, averaging double-digit increases over the past decade. While not the absolute cheapest, Ontario offers a unique combination of affordability in specific regions and exceptional long-term demand. Chapter 2. Quebec. Quebec is Canada's second-largest province by landmass and population, and it offers strikingly different opportunities for farmland buyers. Near urban centers like Montreal and Quebec City, land can exceed $25,000 per acre, rivaling Ontario's most expensive areas. Yet the further you move from major cities, the lower the prices become. In regions like Abitibi-Témiscamingue, Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, and the Gaspé Peninsula, land values can fall to $1,500 per acre, making Quebec one of the most affordable provinces for rural farmland. Quebec's agriculture is highly specialized. Dairy dominates, with more than 6,000 dairy farms producing nearly half of Canada's total milk. Maple syrup is another hallmark, with Quebec responsible for more than 70% of global production. Because of this specialization, large-scale land speculation has been less intense, leaving room for new buyers. What truly distinguishes Quebec is its government support. New farmers can access startup grants up to $50,000, interest-free loans, and reduced property taxes. Farmers under 40 receive additional incentives, making Quebec especially appealing to young entrepreneurs. Quebec's farmland sector has remained relatively stable, avoiding the extreme price inflation seen in Ontario and British Columbia. This balance of affordability, productivity, and government incentives positions Quebec as a province where small to medium-scale farming ventures can thrive with relatively modest capital. Chapter 3. British Columbia. British Columbia is renowned for its natural beauty and high cost of living, particularly in Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. Farmland there can reach jaw-dropping levels of $100,000 per acre, far out of reach for most buyers. Yet, the province is vast and only a small portion is farmable, about 5% of its 95 million hectares. In the interior regions such as Caribou, Peace River, and the Kootenays, farmland values drop sharply to between $2,500 and $4,000 per acre. These areas may lack the lush fertility of the Fraser Valley, but compensate with large tracts of land at accessible prices. Peace River in particular is known for grain, canola, and cattle ranching. British Columbia has also carved out a niche in high-value crops. The Okanagan Valley is famous for vineyards and orchards, with a thriving wine and fruit industry. As consumer demand for organic and locally grown food increases, interior farmland is gaining attention. Challenges include climate variation. Coastal BC is mild and wet, while the interior can be arid and prone to droughts. Still, BC's international trade connections through Pacific ports make it an appealing choice for investors aiming at export markets, particularly in Asia. Affordable land in BC's interior remains a hidden gem for those willing to look beyond Vancouver's reputation for high costs. Chapter 4. Newfoundland and Labrador. Newfoundland and Labrador may not be the first province that comes to mind for farming. With its rugged terrain, cold climate, and short growing seasons, agriculture has historically played a small role here. Only 0.1% of the province's massive 405,000 square kilometers is farmland. Yet these limitations have created opportunity. Land prices are among the lowest in Canada, averaging around $3,500 per acre, with some remote parcels selling for $1,500. Property taxes are equally low at about 0.7% of value, making ownership costs minimal. Government initiatives are attempting to expand the agricultural base. Programs like the Agriculture Growth and Innovation Program cover up to 50% of infrastructure costs for new farmers. Greenhouse development, berry cultivation, and livestock are emerging as viable sectors. While the short frost-free period, roughly 120 days, limits some crops, livestock farming and controlled environment agriculture are expanding. With food security becoming a priority, Newfoundland and Labrador's farmland may become more valuable over time. For adventurous buyers, this province offers both low entry costs and government-backed opportunities. Chapter 5. Prince Edward Island. Prince Edward Island, Canada's smallest province, is one of the most agriculturally intensive. Over 40% of its land is used for farming, the highest share in the country. Farmland averages $4,500 per acre, though rural areas like Kings County offer prices closer to $2,500. PEI is internationally recognized as the potato capital of Canada, producing more than 2.5 billion pounds each year. Blueberries, beef cattle, and dairy are also prominent. The island's red iron-rich soil is exceptionally fertile, supporting high yields. The mild maritime climate provides longer growing seasons compared to much of Atlantic Canada. However, ownership restrictions limit non-residents to a maximum of 5 acres without government approval. For those willing to relocate, PEI offers fertile, affordable land in a province where agriculture is a cultural cornerstone. Investors should also note PEI's strong export links. Potatoes and seed products are shipped globally, and demand for island produce remains steady. With supportive policies in some of Canada's richest soils, PEI is a rewarding choice for serious farmers who qualify for land ownership. Chapter 6. Alberta. Alberta, Canada's second-largest agricultural province, covers more than 50 million acres of farmland. Despite its size and productivity, farmland here remains relatively affordable, averaging $3,900 per acre. In areas such as Peace River, Lethbridge, and Vermilion, prices can drop to $1,800 per acre. Alberta is a leader in both crop and livestock production. It produces more than 30% of Canada's wheat, enough for billions of loaves of bread annually. The cattle industry is equally dominant, with Alberta home to more than 40% of the nation's cattle farms. The beef industry generates over $12 billion per year, making farmland highly profitable. The tax environment is another advantage. Alberta has no provincial sales tax, and farmland is taxed at lower rates than other property. Irrigation systems cover 1.7 million acres, more than all other provinces combined, ensuring crop reliability despite dry summers. Though winters can be severe, Alberta farmland provides exceptional scale, profitability, and resilience, making it one of the strongest long-term bets in Canadian agriculture. Chapter 7. New Brunswick. New Brunswick is often overshadowed by its neighbors, but it offers some of the cheapest farmland in Canada. Prices average $3,200 per acre, with parcels as low as $1,500. Low property taxes, averaging around 1.12%, make holding land here cost-effective. Agriculture in New Brunswick is varied. Dairy, poultry, and potatoes dominate, while wild blueberry production exceeds 40 million pounds annually. With more than 80% of the province forested, farmland availability remains underutilized, keeping prices affordable. The province has also embraced farm-to-table trends, with rising demand for local and organic produce. Small-scale farms are thriving, supported by community interest and provincial initiatives. While the frost-free period is relatively short at around 125 days, the province's ample rainfall compensates, supporting a range of crops. New Brunswick's combination of low entry costs, low taxes, and growing consumer demand positions it as a province with untapped potential for both hobby farmers and commercial ventures. Chapter 8. Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia combines affordability with agricultural richness. Average farmland prices are $2,800 per acre, but areas like Cape Breton and the Annapolis Valley offer land as low as $1,500. The province is famous for apple orchards, vineyards, and dairy farms. It produces 2.5 million bushels of apples annually and is recognized as a leading wine region. Seafood complements agriculture, with farmers increasingly combining aquaculture and traditional farming. Government support is strong, with programs such as the Small Farm Accelerator offering up to $20,000 in grants. Challenges include higher than average property taxes around 1.3% and exposure to Atlantic hurricanes. Still, fertile soil and long growing seasons make Nova Scotia farmland both affordable and productive, especially for specialty crops and niche markets. Chapter 9. Manitoba. Manitoba, covering 650,000 square kilometers, devotes more than 70% of its land to farming. With average farmland prices of $2,100 per acre and remote parcels available for $1,200, it is one of the cheapest provinces for large-scale purchases. Manitoba's agricultural profile is diverse, including wheat, canola, barley, soybeans, sunflowers, and honey. It produces over 25 million pounds of honey annually, making it the honey capital of Canada. Low property taxes of about 0.8% and extensive government programs, including rebates on farm fuel and equipment, reduce costs further. Manitoba's infrastructure is a major asset, with grain elevators, processing plants, and one of the busiest inland ports in Winnipeg. Winters are some of the coldest in Canada, with temperatures dropping to -40 degrees Celsius. But farming here remains highly profitable due to scale, infrastructure, and affordability. For large-scale buyers, Manitoba is among the best value provinces in the country. Chapter 10. Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan tops the list as the most affordable province for farmland. Average prices are just $1,600 per acre, with some areas offering land at $1,000, cheaper than many consumer electronics. Known as Canada's breadbasket, Saskatchewan produces more than half of the nation's wheat and is a global leader in canola and barley exports. Farms here are massive, averaging more than 1,600 acres, allowing efficient large-scale operations. Taxes are low, typically under 1%, and government incentives include fuel tax exemptions and interest-free loans for young farmers. Despite cold winters, Saskatchewan benefits from one of the longest growing seasons in Canada. Prices have risen steadily, averaging 7% annual growth over the past decade, making farmland not only cheap but also a strong investment. For buyers seeking scale, affordability, and international demand, Saskatchewan remains unmatched. Canada offers incredible opportunities for affordable farmland, but location makes all the difference. From Quebec's subsidies to Alberta's cattle ranches, from Manitoba's honey farms to Saskatchewan's wheat fields, each province presents unique strengths. For budget-conscious buyers, the Atlantic provinces and the prairies provide the lowest entry costs, while Ontario and British Columbia still hold hidden bargains for strategic investors. Whether your goal is food security, commercial farming, or land investment, farmland in Canada remains a stable and promising asset. With demand for food rising globally, today's affordable land could become tomorrow's most valuable resource. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to Global Lens for more insights into real estate investment and lifestyle opportunities around the world. Your journey to smarter living starts here.